welcome to another Happy Panda Toys toy review video.
My name is Rich.
My name is Eleni.
And I'm Ben. So today we are very excited to finally bring to you a review video for
the Teddy Troops 2.0 Series 1.
This is something we've been very excited about. It's been in the works for a few years and we all love Flying Fortress, so we just want to get this review underway so we can talk about it a little bit more than we already have been. So whenever we review a toy, we like to go into a couple different categories, which Rich is going to go over right now.
So we do 5 categories. We look at the concept or the idea behind the toy, the packaging, both the materials and the construction with design. Then we're going to look at the translation, how well it goes from the concept into the 3-dimensional form, 4-dimensional form that we have in front of us. The execution, how well the factory does with mass production in terms of paint applications, how well they box everything up. And then finally we end on value. Is the toy worth the price tag? So which one do you want to start on? I guess we'll start on concept. Like we usually do.
Yeah.
Alright, so concept, the idea behind the toy. I would like to start with this because I am a huge Flying Fortress fan. I've been for over a decade. Collected the original Teddy Troop series, the big one that he put out by Adventure. Really loved the figure. I will say I annoyed every toy company under the sun that when Adventure stopped making toys to someone to please pick up the rights and make them. We didn't have the money to do it. I remember having long conversations with people at Kid Robot, at anyone who would listen. Someone needs to make more Teddy Troops, and finally Art Toys has done it. I got to give it a 5. I think he is a premier graffiti artist who's been doing this for a long time. It's his mascot, it's in prints, it's in artwork, it's been used on tons of platform toys. It was his own platform toy. It shouldn't have died. 5.
So I'm also a big Flying Fortress fan. Probably not as big as Rich, but I've also enjoyed his work throughout the years. And the concept of kind of reviving this platform with a series that's just him as opposed to bringing on other artists, I dig it. I think it's a really good idea to jumpstart off this reimagining of the Teddy Troop. I give it a 4.
All right. I mean, what's not to say? I as well am a huge Flying Fortress fan. Love the stuff. Pieces that are instantly put into my collection. You know, he's one of the few people that earmark on social media where when there's something that gets put out, I have to look at it right away and have to be one of those first people to purchase it because they go quick and I love his stuff. So, I mean, it's a 5. Like you guys said, I mean, he deserves his own series. He can carry his own series, has done it in the past, will do it again in the future. This right here is just great. He has enough repertoire to be able to fill a full series himself and have enough variants in those to not feel aged or dated and not feel like you're getting the same thing over and over again in colorways. Even though we have colorways, each colorway feels fresh to the other, and I love it. So 5.
All right, category number 2 is the packaging. Packaging on this is a standard cardboard box, window, full art, front, back, top. Eleni, you want to give us your thoughts on the packaging?
Man. I like this. You know, at first when I was kind of thinking about this, I was like, good packaging, I'm going to give it a 4. But now that I'm looking at it closer, it's a 5, man. I mean, I just love that this back here. It's like all the prints he's been putting out.
The traveling memories.
Exactly. It's the collage of the troops. It's colorful. It's fun. You have the window box. So if you want to display it in box, you can. I would recommend definitely taking it out, but you have that option. So I give it a 5. I'm a fan. Big fan.
I'm going to go with a 4. Normally, on a box like this, I would say 3, but Eleni's right. I like the full travel memories on the back. It kind of lets you know all the different colorways in this series and all the different designs, so it's sort of like a, unusual checklist, if you will. The trooper, you have him in the side, and the camo clearly says, who it's by, and then you got the big window, so they're not blind box like previous mini Teddy Troops have been. You can kind of pick the design you like. So that and it not being blind box, I'd have to give it a 4. I really like it.
All right. I like the fact that they're not blind box because if you've done the previous series, you know what a pain it was to try to get the designs you wanted out of those series. Window box is the way to go. And honestly, I don't want to fanboy out about it too much because I feel like I would give this higher marks based on the fact that it is Flying Fortress. I love the fact that you did do the print on the back. It's a great way, like you said, checklist, which I hadn't thought about before. Just this is a print he had done with kind of the release of, hey, this is what we're coming out with for the new series of Teddy Troops. So it's a great way to showcase that art, kind of maybe even a gateway. Someone who collects vinyl toys, well, here's what the art print looks like. Well, maybe you want to start collecting his art prints because, damn, that's awesome. But I got to give it a 3. I just feel like this is right there, exactly what you would expect with a window box toy. It's very standard. It tells you what it is on the sides. It's got some cool art on the side from the artist. If any other artist had done that and put cool art on the side of their stuff on a window box, I would give it a 3. I feel like, even though I want to say 4 because it's so cool, I gotta say 3 because that's what I would do for anyone else.
The only reason I went 3 and not 4 is because of this little
You mean 4,
print.
not 3?
Yeah, the reason I went with a 4 and not a 3 is because I like the checklist on the back. Cause I feel it's a very unusual way to do a checklist, and it's a piece of his artwork. So, all right. Category number 3 is the translation. How well it goes from idea to the figures in front of us. So one of the things that are a bit different, it's a whole new sculpt of Teddy Troop. Sculpt was done by Muffin Man. They're a little bit bigger. They still have that same pose as the original Teddy Troops, where one foot is actually more forward than the other one. Some come with accessories, and then there's also a new helmet, which is this, you can actually put a real spray can tip in them. Some fit better than others. Ben, what do you think? You can start off on the translation here.
I don't know
You
if
know
you
what?
wanna.
Honestly, on the translation, it was tough. I thought the original was a perfect figure as far as the platform's concerned. Now, there's things that when doing platform toys that are problematic. Having very tight details, small areas, it makes it problems for print padding, which is something that we did see in the original version of Teddy Troops. It's something that Disney really heavily came under attack for with their Vinylmations early on, and they came out with a more rounded, simplistic Vinylmation Mickey that was not received well by the community because it was no longer a Mickey, they said. I feel like to make it more rounded and bring it a little bit more full-bodied, this is the way you do it. This is still very true to the Teddy Troop art. It's true to his style. If anything, I would say it's even a little bit better towards his style than what the original was. If you want to make something a little bit more simplistic, this is the way you do it. I feel like the translation deserves a 5.
What do you think?
Well, I think there's very few things that I prefer in the original over the new one. This face area right here in the original, the way this tuft of hair comes out, I tend to like that better, the muzzle on the older one, but I really think the way they did the helmet is a lot closer to the way he actually does his helmet and his artwork. I like the accessories they've decided to provide the different figures. So, I don't know. Is it a 4? Is it a 5? I give it a 4.
Oh, just make a side note, I got to agree with you on the accessories. The lightning bolt's very classic Flying Fortress. I mean, that's something that is instantly recognizable to his artwork. Some of the other accessories that aren't so much so, the wings and the mask and then the gas mask, are things that are so well executed and so well done that I love them. I feel like they were great choices as well.
And on to me. I'm going to give it a 5. I really love it. And I'm not going to be a fanboy about it, but I'm going to give real reasons. The idea, because he's a graffiti artist and a muralist at his base, the idea of turning some of the helmets into fake spray can tops, fantastic. You could put the nozzles in, they fit in. It makes on some of these look like they're actually used spray cans. The Flying Fortress with the wings and the actual dome is a fun play on words because Flying Fortress was a World War II plane and it looks like a World War II plane that is a Teddy Troop. I feel like he had a lot of fun designing the series. I feel like it all works, both in terms of his roots and in terms of where he's going. While I know you said like the muzzle looks a little bit different for you on the original, I do agree maybe it looks better. I feel like this looks closer to the artwork when you actually put them on a 3/4 profile. Mm-hmm. It probably looks closer to the original artwork versus when they're just straight on. And I do like the proportions better. They seem a little fatter and squatter. And again, use of accessories or lack of accessories, we can kind of just sort of put your own. I think it's a home run because it's a playful platform. Category number 4 is the execution.
Can I start?
Yeah, the execution is how well manufacturing is. Please take it away.
I love it. I love everything about their color choices, the paint application, just there's so much detail in the print padding on these. Just the more you look at them, the more you see just great little touches on every single figure that just bring it to life in a really compelling, amazing, gorgeous way. I mean, look at this skunk, the ombre paint. It's just, I have no words to describe how it's like a feast for the eyes. The colors, it's just so aesthetically pleasing. I could stare at these all day, and I intend to. There's a couple of scuffs here and there, but I don't know. I'm so excited by the colors and the sculpt and everything that I would overlook that and give it a 5.
I'm gonna go with a 4. I really, really like a lot of things that they did. Like if you look on this one, which I think is like the used spray can one, I think that's the title. They actually got like the paint pad to kind of go inside, around, and come up. Stuff like that just seems really hard. The paint is, perfect, and all the icons are really good. Yeah, there's a scuff here and there. The main issue I think that sometimes I have with these is that the helmet is one piece and the bear is another. So sometimes they do the print padding on the helmet without it on the bear, and it doesn't look perfectly straight. Sometimes it's always a little bit off because they're not print padding the helmet while it's on the bear. That's the only thing that kind of gets me sometimes. I think it's mostly on the ones with the stripes and maybe the skunk one where it's just sometimes it's slightly over a little bit, and my crazy OCD-ness kind of looks at it and goes, it just needs to be a little bit more straight. So close to perfect, but I don't want to give it a 5 just because I love the Teddy Troops. So I'm going with a 4. I really like it.
I gotta agree with you, Rich, on this one. It's a 4. It's got the typical lines and stuff that you would expect with print padding. It's unfortunate, and again, I feel like I want to just say 5 and just yell 5 at the mountaintops because they're so well done.
Just do it. It feels so good. Give in. Give it a 5.
I can't. There's spots on them that
party pooper.
I feel like I would judge any other figure just as harshly, and I feel like I need to try to maintain my integrity on that ground.
Integrity, integrity.
But you know what? These are very well done. They're great figures, and I gotta say, it's a 4. A 4 is great marks still, and there's not much you could do to make them better, honestly.
Okay, our last category is the value. Basically, is it worth the price tag? Eleni, I think you had prices on these?
Yeah, so there's 2 different categories. We have the regular colorways, and then we have the variant. So regular colorway, which is these guys starting over here that way, they're $25 and are more rare. Or sorry, that's the variant colors. The regular colorway is $20.
$20 each for each of the regular colorways, and then the variants are $25 each.
Yeah, the variants are more rare and therefore are $25 each.
Yeah, these are like 600 pieces for the regular. Each one had, I think they were editions of 600, and the variants were like 300 pieces of each or something of that nature, somewhere in that realm.
I don't even think it was 600.
It was maybe less?
It was less.
Probably right around here. I'm going to have the actual number.
Yeah. We'll pop that up for you later, but in any case, these are very limited.
Yeah. So Ben, what do you think?
You know what? Honestly, the limited nature of the product, the size of the product, you're going to expect it to be around a $20 price point. The $25 price point on the Chase versions of them, it's tough, but at the same time, I feel like when you actually think about it and you realize how limited these are, I wish that the numbering was put on the boxes, not a 1, 2, 3 numbering, but just limited edition of 500, 600, whatever the number is, because that way you can realize when you're holding it in your hand how limited and hard to get these pieces truly are going to become in the future. And you can kind of justify that value a little bit better than just looking at something with just a solid price tag on it when you're like, oh, well, a Funko Pop is $10. Like, can't tell you how many times you hear.
Compare.
No, it's not comparable, but you can't say how many times that we've heard, well, a Funko Pop is $10.
Yeah, they also make tens upon thousands.
But that's not the point he's making. The point he's making is people without the proper knowledge just look at the price tag.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think that this is at its value. This is exactly where it should be. These are all imported from overseas again. That's something that, it takes effort and money to get here. So the price point is deserved. It's a 3. It's right at its money. It's what you would expect from a toy of this caliber.
I am not really sure, honestly. To hear $20 makes you go, ugh. But at the same time, I would pay it anyway, and I would pay it in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even skip a beat. It would just be like, yes, must have. Yeah, really tight print padding. There's no real issues on any of these. The limited nature of them, even though they're not pushing the limited nature. We have metallic paints. Again, really detailed, tiny detailed, paint ideas. You have accessories. And again, art toys, I think it's harder for toy companies in Europe making toys because how do you then get it to Asia? How do you then get it to the U.S.? I think companies that are based in Asia and the U.S. just have an easier time pushing numbers. So I think that this is a good value. Despite them seeming just maybe too expensive when you hear $20 for something this size, I think it's a 4. It is a good value because I think it's just so much harder to push vinyl in Europe than it would be in either Asia or in the US. And again, for stores to have to import them, I just feel like it's a harder sell sometimes. So I feel like this is as cheap as you could make it based upon the factors that they had to work with.
I agree with both of you. I feel like
Is that a 3.5?
$20 is at its value. Do I wish it was, maybe $2 less and it was $18 and a little bit more accessible, as a retailer? Yes, I feel like that would have been a better price point, but, as someone who has been on the other side of things, it's hard to get it down and still keep up a good quality and keep numbers limited. And I think when you look at it in scale, so you have the Dunny, which is $12 and blind boxed. And then you've got this guy, which is $20. So it's an $8 difference. You know what you're getting. And, it's bigger. It's bigger and better, honestly.
Let me take it a step forward, though. If you buy a Dunny of similar circumstance, so you know exactly the design you're getting, which sometimes they'll do the one-off designs or they'll do the holiday designs. It's $15. And it doesn't come in a window box. It comes in a blind box that you have to rip open. And the run sizes are double the size of
That's
what
a very
they
good
did.
point.
If you compare it by blind box standards, it's expensive, but these are not blind box, so you got to go off of the closest thing would be Kid Robots, 3-inch ones, which are the holiday ones, or you can go off of what Mighty Jax did with Huckji, which is a little bit bigger, a little bit more articulated with the Gold Life series.
Yeah, with taking all that into consideration, it's 3 points. It's at its money.
All right, cool. Well, the big question is, would you buy it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not really a question about it. I mean,
Where can you buy them, Melanie?
At happypandatoys.com. You can buy them at happypandatoys.com.